We are 3 weeks into Queen Kamala's reign, and Americans are still clueless as ever on what the heck she stands for. There is not a single major policy position on her website, but she knows how to be a copycat. Kamala is now ripping off Donald Trump's signature, no tax on tips pledge.
Raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
When I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips. There will be no taxes on tips. No taxes on tips. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
So what will Kamala the chameleon rip off next? Will she build the wall? Harris is now trying to transform herself into a border hawk.
She took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
But the one thing Kamala cannot copy is raw talent, and her friends in the media are doing their best to make that happen. Harris is gracing the latest Time magazine cover and calling it, quote, the reintroduction of Kamala Harris. And despite her word salad speech style, this lady thinks Kamala is the second coming of Barack Obama.
I think it's a really good campaign, and people really like her. She's gotten to be a really gifted Obama-level orator, and, you know, she was very much underestimated by the mainstream media. And quite frankly, she has command. You hear her up there, and she is confident, she is calm, and she is commanding. And for whatever reason, America is ready for her, which is very exciting.
You know, Harold, the interesting part of this no tax on tips is that Kamala doesn't even say, you know, even though Donald Trump talked about it. And you add to that she was actually the tie-breaking vote to give more power to the IRS agents to be able to actually tax those tips. And so on the one hand, we had Joe Biden, the plagiarist, and now Kamala, the copycat. What say you?
Good to be with you. I hope you had a good weekend. It's been a tough 3 weeks so I look at campaigns as they are. You have two people running for an office. We'll do a segment on this. The person running for the Democratic job, running on the Democratic side, got moved into the slot after getting the delegates to go with her after a period of time. We'll talk about it. And you have a Republican who was on top. He was ahead in the polls. Here we go 3 weeks later. Donald Trump has called Kamala Harris, I think, dumb, incompetent, not black, and low IQ. And the end result is she's gaining in the polls. Now, you're right. You said last week there's not a lot populating her website and other things talking about substance and specifics on issues. And frankly, I looked on President Trump. There's not a lot on his either. There's a little more, but there's not a lot. The copycat thing, I'll come to it. When I was in Congress and someone wanted to co-sponsor a bill that I wanted to sponsor, and they were Republican, and some members of their party may not have liked the thing, I didn't condemn them. I commended them. I think that everyone knows that Donald Trump was the first to begin to say no taxes on tips. And if I'm not mistaken, the greatest form of flattery is imitation. And for her to be saying this is a good idea, I think the president should probably embrace it. Joe Scarborough, who's on another network, we were on the same committee together in Congress. I was able to show him how public schools in his district suffered from something that public schools in my district did. And if you were to listen to the vernacular and the narrative from our colleagues, you would think that we were polar opposite, Democrats and Republicans, on this particular funding for certain public schools. Turns out we were aligned. We sponsored together, got passed through committee, and eventually got put into a piece of legislation. I just think you should commend and not condemn when these things happen. Because if President Trump said, I am for restoring Roe v. Wade, I'd be the first to say, I like that copycat. If he were to say, I am for smarter gun laws to ensure that kids don't get them and we have stronger background checks, I'd say, copycat Donald Trump. He's my guy. So I think people should embrace this and understand that this is really how public policy gets made, at least good public policy gets made.
Brian, this new Kamala that we're seeing, I mean, where has she been? Even the mainstream media made fun of her, the word salads, the fact that she couldn't get a statement straight. Now they're basically saying that, you know, this woman is now the new, you know, the new queen of the Democrat Party, when 2 weeks ago Barack Obama said she can't win.
And he's great friends with her. They've been friends for 20 years. First off, Harold, you're right. If she said in her speech, you know, Donald Trump had a great idea the other day. He says no tax on tips. I thought about it. Now that I'm here in Nevada looking at all you, I think he was right. Then I think you're right.
I'll call and tell her to do that.
But she's not condemned. She's not giving him any credit. She's acting like she got the idea. She's like, it's her idea to be tough on the border. She cut this ad. I don't know where she got this archival footage from, but she's been terrible on it. And people are just saying, wait, why don't you admit that it's been a sieve for 3.5 years, but I want to change it? Now she says, I'm going to tackle inflation on day one. I think to myself, why? You're in day three, 1,000 plus. You should be tackling it to begin with. You're part of it. Unless you're going to say that you've been on the sidecar not doing anything, at one point you got to say, listen, President Biden, good guy, but sideline me. He wouldn't give me any chance. Now you get a chance to see my policy. Been 3 weeks, you're going to see all this stuff in front of you. But what's so maddening is she's not admitting and acknowledging that she's flipping on all these issues. She's not even verbalizing it. And now she comes out and takes these two things. Like you said in the open, is she going to say build the wall next? Because I really expected her to say that. The other thing she might say is Social Security. Trump's other idea that he said maybe we should stop taxing Social Security. And I'm wondering, is she going to say that to seniors next time she goes to a retirement home?
Yep. All right, Dana, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen that the audiences are getting bigger, that, you know, all of the momentum is on her side now, and that she literally is in a position where if she goes off script, if she does an interview, she could collapse. So do you think she's going to do that?
Well, remember, in every campaign, let's just think back to her campaign in 2020. She starts off really strong.
Yeah.
Okay? And then it falls apart. That might not happen here. The timing is very, very good for her. And one of the things I thought was quite shocking was that for the first time you saw some polls say that voters who care about the economy trust Democrats and Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump on the economy now. It's like, wait, how did that happen? The other thing she could have done on the tax thing, on the tips, she could have said, President Trump had this idea. I'll see him. And I'll raise him this, and I'll cut this, and I'll do this. Like something that would be like, okay, well, I like that idea. First of all, I actually think that no tax on tips might be a great idea. I think in practice, when you start thinking about, well, what about the dishwasher? Should the dishwasher have to pay taxes too? Because the dishwasher gets paid less. And I think that it's just a little bit more complicated than anybody is allowing for. And I would say, just having gotten back from a week away I followed the news a lot, but I should say welcome. I'm glad to be back around the table.
I should have said welcome back.
No, I should have said thank you. It's good to be back around the table.
I didn't say it.
But it's interesting to not have to talk, to read about it and observe, but not have to talk about it all the time, and to realize like this campaign feels very strange. It feels very hollow. Her campaign in particular, and the issues that people care about. Just like we have big problems in the country, and people aren't talking about it. And she is trying to run as both an incumbent vice president with all of the selling them on the mantle of her experience and her record. But also she wants you to know she doesn't believe any of that. And the media is like, okay.
Yep.
And to think that she's on the cover of Time magazine, the cover of the Atlantic, on the very week that Simone Biles just stuns the world. Like, we could have put Kamala Harris on the magazine next week, but they seem to have her in thrall. And the last thing I would say is, when I say she starts off strong, remember also her campaign fell apart partly because of personnel issues and management, her management. And right now there's a story in Politico that David Plouffe, who's an Obama person who's come on board to help, is clashing with some of the Biden advisors because there are no clear lines of assignment. And if you look at the New York Times article that explained what was happening in her office, these were people on the record speaking, it was a similar issue. I don't know if she has enough time to get through it without a big stumble, but she's going to have probably a decent week this week. and a good one next week.
All right, time is on our side. You know what, Greg, I want you to take a look at these side-by-sides. One is the, what Dana mentioned, the Time magazine cover with Kamala, and the other is the Time magazine cover of Donald Trump with his face melting. So the difference between how they portray a Republican running for president and a Democrat.
To be fair, and I have to address this to Dana, Time magazine, they thought that was Simone Biles. So,
Right.
who cares about Time magazine? It's the most irrelevant publication. Its circulation is in the dumper. No one reads it. You know, it's like being on the cover of Cracked. Does that still exist? I don't even know. You know, here's the deal. You said it was like, it feels hollow. It's hollow because it is. The fact is, in life, the more you get to know someone, the less you like them. I mean, we've learned this with Kilmeade.
But it's why no one's learned that with Kilmeade.
But it's why marriage is a commitment. You know, the first impression is the greatest impression, and then as you get to know people and you peel away the onion, you realize it's a commitment. So right now, the media is doing its best because they're running this show to keep Kamala Harris in the first impression zone, right? She's an unopened Christmas present. You know, as long as it's not open, you can imagine what it is, but you'll never get disappointed because you won't open it. So the media is doing its best to keep that present from being opened by the American public, because over time, which is what happens in a campaign, you see that it's all that it's not cracked up to be. Her copying Trump is a great strategy. So for 1 minute, you're labeling the guy Hitler, and then the next, you're taking Hitler's positions. Because you know that the media won't point it out. Wasn't Trump's policies on the border xenophobic? Wasn't it heartless and reminiscent of the Third Reich? But when Kamala does it, it's joyful. You know, look how joyful deportations are. They're just, oh, the families are so happy. Right. You know, they love to get separated. But it's a terrible strategy to call it copycat stuff because it just comes off as whining. And Harold has a point. When an opposing team copies something from their competition, it's because they realize that it's smart. And the counter strategy is to react by pushing that team further in the right direction, kind of like what you were talking about. Trump should exploit his gravitational pull, you know, demand that Harris fix the tax code now. Why aren't you doing this now? I mean, release a plan that actually lowers taxes for small businesses in the middle class. You're a VP. You've been here. You know, you're the border czar. Right now, you're the border czar. Why don't you do it? You know, Trump, in a weird way, is making Kamala great for once. You know, but having said that, you shouldn't buy it, because this has been a liberal trick for years. As you get close to an election, suddenly the Democrats dispense with the wacky, destructive, progressive crap, and they embrace republicanism. Suddenly they sound like mom and dad, all of us, instead of the tantrum-throwing brats. They did this with Joe. They had him pretend that he was this middle-of-the-road moderate who was going to unite the country, and then what happens? He gets in and practically destroys the place. There's a history of evidence here that it's all a big lie, that they always use candidates as a Trojan horse to bring in a radical. It's like the bad boyfriend who suddenly becomes a gentleman in order to get the girlfriend back. And then once he gets her back, he's back to whoring. That's exactly what the Democrats do in every election. They rule left, then they campaign right, and then they're back to the further left. So the fact is, while I say it's great that she's impersonating Trump, it's just an impersonation. Much like you, Brian, when you're trying to be me.
Or Jesse.
I don't. Yeah, more like Jesse. I would think so.
All right.
I would say this: if it's so great to be Trump, why don't they just run on that?
No.
Why not run on her policy?
No, but you know what they're offering here?
Guys.
What they're offering is they're saying to the voters, you like Trump's policies, but you don't like his personality? Well, you can have his policies without his personality. It's brilliant.
Right.
All right. Coming up.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.